And we are recording on the 5th of this month, this year. You figured it out. And then DP is coming. All right, we'll let him in. And just sit back and think about nothing and allow the body and the mind to let go. Let your mind drift into nothingness where everything is as your body relaxes more and more for every word you hear. Just for a moment, think about your feet. Your feet is resting on the floor or wherever they are, and your legs are heavy against where they are resting. Then think about your hands, and your arms are heavy against where they are resting. And you are breathing slowly and gently as you always do. And you feel good. Everything is good. Your chest muscles and your back muscles are relaxing and you are sinking into the chair. And you feel wonderful. You are in good company. All the people on this panel are joining their minds together to create a new mind with unlimited creative capability. And we will allow it to unfold so we can do amazing things. And let your mind drift off into nothingness. And there is nothing you need to think about right now except this voice. And then you create mental images around the voice you hear. Create emotion and mental images around what you hear. And you are totally relaxed from your toes all the way up to your scalp. And you feel wonderful. You can feel this slight anticipation of creating wonderful things for yourself and mankind, because we can. We create for ourselves, our families, others, and people we do not even know. The world is going to be a better place because of what we do. And it feels good. Let's think about something that will benefit all of us on this panel. We know that some of us may have things going on in their bodies that they are not perfectly happy with. So then each one of us may think of those things, even though that may be different for every one of us. It is all within. It's all within the wave that we create as a creative energy because of the mastermind we create here. The universal mind knows how to distinguish between each one of us. So for each one of us, it's an individual thing that will happen for us. So if there's anything in your body you like to be better, think of it now and visualize it and feel it as it is perfectly healed in this moment. Do that for the next minute or so. You feel it slowly getting better and healing itself. See it perfectly healed. Feel it. Love it. Each one of us feel better and know it made a difference. We know the healing is ongoing from present moment to present moment. And it will continue long after we quit thinking about it. Now feel it as a perfectly healthy situation. Know it is happening. And then let's be more specific by all of us concentrating on one person and one situation specifically. We think of Nori. She is going to have, when she goes for her checkup, there will be a surprise because the healing is complete with her heart. Visualize Nori in your mind's eye. Know the healing in the heart and the artery is complete. And it is getting better and better every day. Know it is happening for the next minute. Concentrate on the heart and the artery healing itself now. Visualize Nori in your mind's eye and know and tell her your aneurysm is gone. Know it is happening. It is happening now as we speak. Feel it. Know it is happening. And then there is one more. There is one of our panelists here that has become to us Mr. Ghost. It is such a cute name. So let's keep it that way. He needs the healing for a hernia. We know it's a simple situation to correct. Visualize him in your mind's eye, knowing that he is perfectly healthy. It will unfold in the present moment when the time is right and it is corrected. Let's build up the energy for it to happen when the time is right. in the present moment of when the time is right, it will be perfectly healed. Visualize him also in your mind's eye and tell him, your energy around you and in you is building up for a perfect healing when the time is right. And we thank you. Let's each one of us think about something that we would want more than anything in our life within the concept of abundance. That can be so many things. Abundance of economics, abundance of good friends, abundance of love in your life, abundance of excitement for what you do. For the next minute or so, think of something that represents abundance for you and see it in your mind. See yourself having it, doing it, being it. See yourself with it and feel the excitement and the wonderful feeling of having it in your life in this moment. The abundance is all around you, and you claim it as yours now for the next minute. Each individual person think of their individual thing, and it will be. The abundance in your mind is yours. Feel the abundance in this present moment. It is yours. And we claim it because It is ours. And we work on this every day in our meditations. So we bring it in from the universal mind into the physical with us so we can enjoy it again. And we claim it because so it is. There are tricky times out there now. There's uncertainties that many people are bothered with. But for us, it is a good time of creation. We solidify the timeline from where we are into the future, where we have this thing we visualize in form of abundance. Abundance will increase from this present moment into the future, where we will have everything we have visualized to be. And we do this every day. Visit that thing we created in our mind, and we get drawn up this timeline, up through those attractor strings to it that we created. So our timeline is going to have good things in it. It will be a safe one. Because also tell ourselves we are safe in where we are and what we do. We are safe in where we are and what we do. Repeat those words so it becomes comfortable. Know it is true. We are safe. We are safe in where we are and what we do. And then let's think beyond ourselves. There are other places in the world which needs our help, others' help, and the help of the good thinking people of the world. So let's dwell on the concept of peace. Think of the word. The word peace has a very high vibration attached to it. Think of the world as we know it and repeat the word peace in your mind for a while. Peace, peace, peace. Peace. Peace is emerging everywhere. Peace is growing from one place to another, to another, to another. The agreement of peace was just attained in the Middle East. Now, next, it will be in Ukraine. Peace is coming to people in the present moment of the time. Peace. Peace is emerging everywhere. All the people around the world want peace. People in your country want peace. People in your neighborhood want peace. Everyone in your family and among your friends want peace. And you want peace of mind and peace in your existence. Peace. And we wish the peace. We want the peace, and we command the peace to be everywhere, which is caused by what we do. And there is an alien presence on the planet here as well as in space. They have our best interest at heart, and we ask them to do what they can to help bring the peace. And beyond what we do and the alien presence, we also have unseen influences around us, around everyone, even people in conflict. We ask those unseen influences, angelic beings, light beings, any spiritual entity with the power and the mind to help. We ask them to get in the game with us and help create peace. Sometimes all we have to do is ask, and we do. And all of this, what we have talked about, what we have visualized and felt and loved into existence is ours because of who we are. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and we have unlimited creative capability. So we can create anything we think of, visualize, dream of, and love into existence. And we claim it all for ourselves, our families and friends, our neighborhood, our country, and the world. Because we thought it, it will be. And we feel the gratitude for already knowing it is happening in this moment and in every present moment from now on. It is happening. We know it is happening because we did it with our mastermind that we created by joining our minds together. And we send a thank you to the unseen influences around us for helping. We feel the gratitude and tell them, thank you for your help. And with that, we know we have done our work for today. We feel good about it. We know it's going to happen. So we will continue in our daily meditation, working to fill in every present moment with good things for us, our families, and the world. And with that, we say thank you with gratitude and love. So let's open our eyes and come back to the room and know we did some really, really, really good things. Okay, it's time to wake up.
Thank you, Aage. That was really just so serene and truthful and heartfelt. And I feel like our beautiful mastermind connection, sovereign siblingship is all in alignment. We're all smiling in that beautiful race of the truth of light. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll hold you to that one. Thank you.
Please do.
All right. Well, any good thoughts that came from what we did? I'm all ears.
If you are a good heart and a planter of the seeds of truth, that makes you a fighter against tyranny, and that makes you a visionary for a better world. And that qualifies you to request for protection for your family from the universe. That's
Yeah.
right.
And there is several different types of tyranny. You have physical tyranny, and then you have mental tyranny, and yes, there is also spiritual tyranny. And what we're doing here, we try to cover all, not by pushing out the tyranny, but we are replacing it with good things that will automatically replace it, so the tyranny no longer exists. Nori was so much better at explaining that one, but anyway, I hope you understand what I'm thinking of. Oh, that'll be a good one for Geraldine maybe to expand on in just a little bit too.
Yes, I think we are going to touch on that in a little bit. Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Hey, Augie, did you see Greg Braden on Joe Rogan?
What's that?
Greg Braden was just interviewed by Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan show.
No, I haven't seen it. I heard he was on there for what, a couple of hours, was it?
Yes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
it was
would be.
very, very interesting.
Yeah, we need to see that one. He's one of my mentors. I never met him. I read his books and watched his videos, but I never met him. But he's still one of my mentors.
Yes, and
Great.
the message he gave was very much like your own, Augie. It was very, very interesting to listen to.
Okay, good
Yeah,
deal.
I
The
agree. Augie is on a very similar frequency to Greg Braden and Joe Dispenza, and we're
Bruce.
all knowing. We're all on that. Once you start working with your highest self, you all start aligning with your siblingship, all on the same high frequency, and it's to do with meditation. If you consistently meditate in the beginning of your day and at the end of your day, you will come into a consciousness that is
Yeah,
like no other.
yeah.
Thank you.
And I do a 3-minute meditation sometimes, several times during the day. Whenever I'm in the middle of doing something, if I feel like it's just the thought come, I says, okay. So I sit back, I close the mind down for 3 minutes, and then I'm back at it again. Because once you close the mind down like that, you're exercising the channel from the conscious to the subconscious into the superconscious mind to the universal mind, and things come back through the same channel. Just the 3 minutes, it exercises the channel and it makes it easier to receive things coming back through that channel. And well, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I hope it makes a little sense at least. Any good thoughts?
Augie, I did want to apologize if anybody's ears got hurt I think we had a double mic situation while I was signing Dr. Baker in, and on her computer it was like volume 1,000. So if I hurt anyone's ears, I'm really sorry. It
No, that was okay.
wasn't too bad.
We got away with it.
Okay. All right. All right.
All right. Well, Nori, what do you think? Uh-oh.
I think
All right.
that was lovely. Thank you for all of it. It was very nice. And I'm just sitting on the edge of my seat here waiting for Geraldine.
Me too. Oh yeah. Geraldine, we talked on the phone a couple of times before this event, and I mentioned something that I think a lot of people have a little confusion around, and that is the concept of karma. Because we hear all the time that, oh yeah, you really screwed somebody over here. You did a bad thing. So now next time around, you're going to have to come around, and then you switch roles. So you're going to be the receiving end of it. Well, that could happen, but maybe there is a choice. I would love for you to talk about that because I need some clarity on this too.
Yes, thank you so much, Nori and Agi, for inviting me. And your meditation was absolutely beautiful and powerful. And it's such a gift to be a part of this kind of a group with this work. So I set the intention for everyone that is going through difficult times, healings, physical situations, that they do come into harmonic order with this intention. But yeah, so we discussed karma. So yeah, it's such an exciting topic. I really love the topic, and I would love to jump into kind of an overview of what that is. I guess a quick introduction. My name is Geraldine Orozco, and I'm an epigenetic psychotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist, and I love to research the effect of our spiritual ascension on our DNA and vice versa. I love to understand the connection between that. Many years ago, I've had experiences that allowed me to expand my vision into the multidimensional body. And that helped me kind of understand the connection between the etheric and the physical in our biology. How does that work, our spiritual biology? So kind of working and mapping with that, working with, thousands of people at this point after so many years, 20 years, begin to show that, our multidimensional body has very much a structure to it, a certain structure to it. And all of that is encoded in our DNA. And so our evolution, spiritual and physical, is programmed there. It's memorized there. And because we are bioelectrical beings, this is how we maintain this memory in our system. Now I'm going to talk about the concept of karma, and I'm going to incorporate that aspect into it because it's super important in terms of how we develop illnesses, for example, how we cycle through some of these karmic experiences that we have with each other collectively and also etherically. So we're going to take a look at that. And I have a little PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to walk you through that one together. We'll just take a look at that together. Let me just share my screen here. And if you guys have any questions or anything comes up, no problem. Please feel free to ask at any time.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about the foundations of karma now. I feel like it's really important to understand karma because one of the things that I discovered by understanding the multidimensional body is that not only are we bioelectrical, but the more we become conductive, okay, so the more bioelectrically conductive we become, coming into harmony with the ebb and flow, the universal ebb and flow, this is how the human starts to experience something called the 0 point. And it turns out that when we embody the 0 point, the body is operating at its optimum state. And it's also beginning to go outside of this cycle of karmic integration, karmic experiences. So I'm going to explain that and break that down. Let's talk a little bit about what is the meaning of karma. So, of course, it's derived from the Sanskrit root of kri, meaning to do or to make. It represents far more than just a simple concept of cause and effect. It's the energetic imprint of intention, which is crystallized into manifestation. So this is really interesting because intention is incredibly important. How we intend, the words that we're speaking, the energy that we put towards something is the key to your embodiment as a God creator, essentially, on the highest level. And so how it corresponds directly to this law of cause and effect as one of the Hermetic principles, which governs all of existence, essentially in the Hermetic principles, karma operates as the universal method of maintaining equilibrium. Okay, once again, so when we enter into this physical density, we are designed to experience pure experience, this polarity, duality. And so we require contrast. We require that kind of contrast in order plainly to experience. The whole purpose is experience. And through experience, we expand, we grow. So as every thought, every emotion, every action is creating a ripple effect in the fabric of reality. So this generates vibrational frequencies that must eventually return to their source, because everything in the universe, the entire universe is moving in a spiral motion. Everything is moving in this way. And so it's not just about punishment or reward. This is a very archaic concept. It's also a concept that was confused because of the influence of religion and the idea that there is an external power that is more powerful than ours or separate from our access. Okay, so it's really important. But this cosmic intelligence, it ensures that all energy finds its perfect balance and resolution. And that's really what we kind of want to create. This is what we're co-creating. We're co-creating harmony. We're bringing the body into harmony, harmonic order, natural order, and we're also bringing all of our ancestral lineage actually into harmonic order. So in the Hermetic understanding, it reveals karma as both the teacher and the alchemical process, the divine mechanism through which consciousness evolves towards greater harmony with universal law. It represents the bridge between this mundane world of effect and the causal realm of pure intention and divine will. Okay, so let's start with that. And as we go a little deeper, let's talk about this concept of energy in terms of energy and its co-creation. But when we talk about the universal field of return, thoughts are vibrations. And some of you might be, a lot of my work is based on universal laws, and the Hermetic principles are excellent source of those universal laws, which are actually the foundation of all of our creation. Everything that we do, everything we speak, everything we act in this world is based on these laws. And if those laws become your core values, it gently brings you into harmonic order. Okay, so thought vibrations, for example, we talk about mental activity, which creates electromagnetic patterns that radiate outward, establishing resonant fields that attract corresponding experiences and circumstances back to the originator. Okay, and so the purpose of this, again, is where we start to experience the concept of a mirror, right? Experiences becoming mirrors to us. People are mirrors to us. And I guess in the process of awakening, of realizing that you are the infinite creator, you are shown within other people, within relationships. This environment of this 3D matrix is constantly showing you, bringing your attention gently to the things that are required attention, the things that are perhaps beginning to fall out of this harmonic order. And a lot of our existence is in cyclical form. So we are repeating, right? So the more unconscious we are, the less bioelectrical, the less conductive we become, the more we fall into this matrix cycle of repetition, and it becomes unconscious repetition. So the majority of our behaviors, our thoughts, our emotions, even the way that we react emotionally to something, is actually just copying what our ancestors have been doing for generations. Social engineering, indoctrination, right? So there's a lot of elements that are forming us into what we are. So this plays a very important role in understanding this karmic energy exchange that is happening in our experiences. And for example, Gurdjieff talked about the law of accident, that essentially when you fall asleep too much, you are shooken back up awake, right? Something will happen that will wake you back up into the awareness. And essentially, bioelectrically, and as an energetic being, this happens in your body. The moment you start falling in frequency, some things will begin to happen that will create contrast to wake you back into vibrational alignment. Okay, so in emotional frequencies, feelings amplify thought forms, giving them greater power to influence the quantum field and magnetize experience that match their vibrational quality. Okay, in action imprints, physical deeds anchor energy into the material plane, creating a lasting impressions in the Akashic field that must eventually balance through correspondence return. This is super important because there is no action that goes without having an effect on you first in the body and then externally, right? So the resonance operates beyond linear time. It functions in the eternal now, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. It's very important to understand that very key term. The apparent delay between cause and effect is merely a function of dimensional perception in higher states of consciousness. Karma reveals itself as instantaneous vibrational matching. So it's instant vibrational matching. We come into resonance with something, and that is what we experience. That's why we must, or the invitation is that you are mindful of your thoughts, mindful of your intentions primarily, which are infused by your subconscious belief system. Everything is from the subconscious mind. And that's the thing. Sometimes people walk around with a smile in the face, but internally they have deep depression, they have anger, they have resentment, unresolved thoughts, unmet emotions, unmet needs. And that is what would be creating in this cycle of co-creation. So in the law of correspondence, for example, in terms of the mirror of consciousness, as above, so below, as within, so without, we talk about three main aspects, which is the inner reality. Okay, so your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions, and intentions from the causal realm of experience. The above that determines manifestation. Now, when we talk about the above, I'm taking it to the biological, bioelectrical element, which is essentially everything that's memorized in your DNA. All of the ancestral beliefs that are carried down, which are literally epigenetically passed down through your mitochondria, through mothers, and also your father's lineage in different ways. They affect us in different ways. And that memory is played out by us. It's reinforced as children, right? Because our parents play out certain behaviors that reinforce certain belief systems. And these belief systems, they're not just psychological concepts. They are bioelectrical energy systems in your body. So we're literally talking about nodes of energy that are enhanced through repetition in the energetic field. So when we talk about resonance, this is what we're dealing with. It's not just a concept. It's a very profound interlaced energetic system that we create in the body. And that interlaced system is connected biochemically with the chemicals that we're creating, and bioelectrically through the emotional charges that we input into the system. And this takes us to the outer reality. So circumstances, relationship, challenges, and opportunities which mirror this inner consciousness is the below that reflects the causation. Okay, so again, pretty clear. Let's talk about the karmic loop, though, because this is the key that a lot of people don't quite understand, and it's essential to understanding how to dissolve karma, essentially, which is what Aage and I were talking about. We can dissolve karma. Let's talk about how. So the continuous feedback cycle between the consciousness and experience, offering constant opportunities for growth and alignment. So again, if one message is taken away, if the more we come in, the more our values align with universal laws, the more you come into harmonic order, essentially. And so that ebb and flow, you have a deep programmed subconscious understanding that we are to cycle through life and death continuously. That is the key. That is health. That is vitality. That's the movement of life force in your body. And that's the key to come into harmonic order. So this correspondence operates with the mathematical precision. Disharmony within creates chaos without. Love within manifests harmony without. The external world becomes our greatest teacher, showing us exactly where our consciousness aligns or conflicts with the divine law. Through the mirror, karma is serving as a net as just a judgment, but as compassion, it's guidance toward greater wholeness and self-realization. So the key here, again, is that as we begin to understand, the majority of us, and I'm working with this with clients every day, right? We're accessing the core root of illness, the core root of blockages in life, the core root of not being able to manifest. And what we find are these cyclical belief systems that are representing in the world. When we look at the greater issues that are happening in our world today, a lot of us feel so helpless. We think, what can we do to help and stop the wars, to help the chaos? Well, again, this is the wars that exist internal to us are the internal wars that we have within ourselves. We hate ourselves, we judge ourselves, all of that is within the self, and that is a bioelectrical charge of creation. So when we talk about higher intelligence, I talk a lot about advanced technology, organic technology. Organic technology being your ability to activate your higher faculties in order to assess and be aware. This level of awareness creates a self-organizing intelligence inside your body and outside of you. And so we are learning, growing, and expanding. This lens, essentially, of karmic experience becomes sacred. It's a loving invitation from the universe to remember that our true identity and step more fully into the power as conscious co-creators of reality. The invitation is really that we enter into a high level of co-creation in harmonic order. Okay, so the creation of karmic consciousness, which is the prime mover, it's the origin point, which is thought and intention. We talk about mental karma, emotional karma, and physical karma, which is what Aage was just talking about a second ago. In mental karma, thoughts and beliefs form energetic blueprints that structure reality. These persistent thought patterns create mental karma that shape perception and attract corresponding experiences. In emotional karma, feelings amplify thought patterns, giving them vibrational power and emotional charge. Remember, emotions are bioelectrical outputs. Okay, so that's very important. You are a bioelectrical being, which is all that the information that is fed into that is from your DNA. It's from the blueprint of yourself and your ancestors, whatever you're repeating. Now, every human is also repeating an archetypal overlay of consciousness. So we are also kind of cycling through these archetypal cycles as well. And so essentially the intensity of emotion determines the speed and force of karmic return. And so, the more that we harvest this, let's say, very strong emotions towards the body, towards others, that will have a direct effect on our internal well-being. Illnesses will manifest. Strong feelings and emotions that we feel in our relationships cause disharmony inside the physical body. Okay, so we have to be very mindful of that. So we go into physical karma. Actions anchor energy into matter, creating dense karmic imprints in the physical plane that require material experience for resolution and balance. So these are different ways that we're experiencing karma in order to grow, to learn, and to expand. So you might be experiencing karma on these different levels. It's important to know these different levels, because if you don't know them, you also won't know how to alchemize them. We sometimes we have difficult lives and we wonder why we're having such difficult lives. So we need to observe our past. What are the patterns that we've received that we have anchored back? And what is the lesson that is being required to learn? A lot of people repeat things, especially in relationships, for example. We have certain relationship with mom, now we have that with our partner, now we have it with our colleague, now we have it with friends at work, and now we have it with ourselves in terms of our concept connection to spirituality, for example. The same subconscious core belief is repeated and rippled throughout every area of our life. The trifold mechanism operates through the eternal sequence: cause equals energy equals effect. Each cause sets energy in motion that must find balance and resolution within the universal field, following the immutable laws that govern all manifestation. So let's break down essentially what happens with polarity and balance, because you see, the reason why we experience this kind of severity and experience is that we are experiencing the third dimensional plane right now. This is the key of polarity. The whole purpose of your soul having choosing to incarnate into this temporary reality. And remember, this is one of many lifetimes, many dimensions that you're exploring and experiencing simultaneous to this one. Okay, so in order to alchemize, first we have to be very aware. Every action contains the opposite. We have to understand this law of opposites, the dance of opposites. Any action that's taken in an extreme creates potential energy seeking balance. Okay, so that's why we always invite you to find the 0 point, which is the center of non-judgmental observer. If you maintain in a non-judgmental observer within yourself, in your internal dialogue and external to you, this is where you'll be able to recognize where those extremes are in your beliefs and your thoughts and your subconscious behaviors. And essentially, balance is achieved through integration and understanding of both poles. Okay, so that's kind of what we're kind of looking to understand. As a result, growth and transmutation occur through this resolution of polarity. Now, let's go deeper into understanding how this information is stored in the body. The subtle energy bodies, this is kind of small print, I think, so let me see if I can make that. You guys can see it. Okay, so when we talk about the anatomy of the body, when we talk about the bioelectrical anatomy of the body, everything that we experience, every thought, everything emotion, it's imprinted in the energy bodies. And again, we have the chakra system, as you know, the chakra energy system. These are vortices that are self-organizing infinite potential, because you are a fractal of infinite potential that is now embodied in this physical body. You do not access the majority of that infinite potential because you are waking up consciousness and remembering that you are infinite potential through this human experience. The sooner you recover that memory, the more you will access the memory that is stored within each of these vortex systems, which are portals into DNA memory. Okay, so each one of these chakra systems read from the blueprint of DNA, and they are processing life force in and out of the body. You are the user interface of this information. This information is self-organizing in the chakra system from root to crown, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, but our light body is our most refined energy vehicle. It serves as the ultimate repository for karmic patterns, carrying these impressions across lifetimes and dimensions until consciousness develops sufficient clarity and power to transmute them through love and understanding. You see, our concept of love is rather limited. When we think of love, we think of it as an emotion, and we've been brainwashed to think of, romance, Valentine's Day, some kind of marriage perhaps, or union of some kind. But that is so far away from what love actually is. Love is actually an entire bioelectrical system of creation, of co-creation. It's the regenerative system of this human body, and it's the higher alchemical regenerative system of the universe through the process of learning and expansion. So in the body, this creates geometry. It creates certain kind of geometric structures in the body. When the heart chakra is expanded, all the chakras move, they expand and contract depending on the information you're processing through them. And ideally, the human starts to embody the Platonic solids, right? These complex geometric structures. Why? Because you are self-organizing light, infinite potential. And so one of the forms that our human body can take is the Merkaba, right? And so the Merkaba, as you know, it has an expanded center, which is the heart. Okay, so there is sacred symbology in many different things through history that help us understand. All of these patterns of truth are hidden in nature, in the Fibonacci sequence. They are hidden in the patterns of life and death of nature, and they are hidden in the regenerative systems of our subconscious understanding in relationship with our experiences. So we can kind of get an understanding of how to bring this body into optimum function by noticing that when any of these energy systems are blocked, this is where life force, these subtle energy bodies, are not processing this energy, okay? So in the creation phase of energy, energy builds and gathers momentum. Now there's a process to how energy essentially is crystallized, okay? The expression phase, energy manifests into an experience. In the dissolution phase, the energy completes and releases. And the rebirth phase, a new cycle begins from a higher octave. We are constantly entering micro higher octaves within the spiritual ascension. Everyone is ascending, whether you like it or not. You are all moving through ascension. Whether you align in harmony with that ascension is a different story, okay? So bioelectrically. But in higher dimensions of consciousness, karma operates simultaneously rather than sequentially. So when we perceive the past or future, karma are simply vibrational echoes existing in the eternal now, awaiting the proper resonance for harmonization and release. So in other words, the higher the dimension you go, the more instant this loop becomes. Now, what's happening now on Earth as we enter into this new period 9 is that things are speeding up. And so this kind of feedback loop is also presenting itself as we become more conscious, okay? So let's talk about the transmutation process. First aspect of transmutation, of course, is awareness. And for that, we have to train, the monkey mind to quiet down. We have to train, we have to learn how to grow gray matter in the brain by allowing ourselves to meditate, taking times for stillness, cultivating stillness. Meditation is the core foundation of all this work. Okay, so the more that we meditation like Vipassana, for example, we are growing gray matter in the brain, and that allows you to become more conductive, essentially. Okay, that's biologically. Now, psychologically, awareness is the first key, right? So the conscious observation dissolves unconscious repetition. Karma cannot persist in the light of full awareness. The witnessing consciousness neutralizes automatic reactions and opens space for new choices. New choices, which is the application of free will. That's what we are all aiming to embody at this time, is free will. Now, let's talk about the alchemy of forgiveness, which is a very powerful energy. And you may have heard that forgiveness is more for you than it is for the other person, because as the sole creator and the origin point of your experiences, these are the origin point of your experiences can be past life. It can be a childhood experience that has led you to make a series of actions that have caused and manifested a certain life experience in the now. So forgiveness transmutes polarity by releasing energetic charge. And this is where we start getting into the interesting aspect of transmutation. Love neutralizes discordant frequencies through the hermetic path of transmutation. And it's not just hermetic. This concept of transmutation is basically a physical law, okay? Transforming poison into medicine through compassionate understanding. That is the key. When we go to the law of neutralization, by rising above polarity, compassion and understanding, consciousness neutralize the pendulum swinging of karma, finding the still point where opposites are reconciled in unity. And finally, the integration through the heart, which is what I was mentioning about the activation of the Merkaba. When we shift our attention, you see, our multidimensional body, we are a toroidal field. Okay, so your multidimensional body is a toroidal field. When that toroidal field is depleting its life force externally, okay, so you're completely engaged in the physical, material, global experience, your energy is being depleted outwardly. Okay, you become centrifugal. The way that your toroidal system spins is centrifugal to you. Your energy depletes. This is how we become weakened in thought, disconnected from source, embody fear, separation, and then illness. Okay, so that's how the illness is created. The opposite of that would be that you begin to regather your energy, call back your life force from all the places that you're depleting, and focus that energy inwardly. And the alchemy is occurring through the heart, that you feel powerful love towards every cell of this body, like we did in the meditation. The embodiment of love, as I mentioned, it is the restructuring of your bioelectrical system. It is creating an entire geometric harmonic system in your body. And so the heart chakra, it acts as a divine transmuter. So it harmonizes dense energies into coherence. And the coherence, the wave band of the coherence is the 0 point, because it is the all. We connect to all. There is no barriers. There is no variation or separation of that continuum. We are embodying the continuum. This aligning personal will with divine will naturally ends karmic cycles through surrender to higher purpose. Okay. So again, we can transmute all the karmas that you believe that you're struggling with in this lifetime, all the lifetimes you've lived, by embodying to divine will and coming into this harmonic order, surrender and embodying a higher purpose. Higher purpose doesn't mean you're going to go be specifically a healer somewhere. Okay, there's this idea that, you know, higher purpose means you have to do that, but essentially it means the embodiment of a bliss state, high octave bliss state in harmony with universal laws. You experience divine love, you embody bliss from the 0 point. The 0 point, from that 0 point emerges this unconditional love. So when we live in service to our dharma, this is talking about dharma, our soul's authentic purpose, we naturally dissolve past karma by aligning with the higher vibrational flow of divine will expressed through human form. Now, I'm going to share with you a couple techniques that I teach in my school of learning how to alchemize karma. And this is a very powerful technique that I was shown, not only reinforced by several shamans that I've learned under, but also by accessing these Akashic records, Akashic fields, and studying our multidimensional body. Now, these energy points in our body, imagine that, you know, you are a point of energy at the center of this plane here. Okay, so just grab a little marker here. So imagine you are mouse is not working. Okay, it's not working. Forget it. Imagine that you are a little dot here at the center of this plane. Okay, you exist right there. Essentially, your entire multidimensional body is the universe. It's the all. Okay, so you are all of these systems, and energy systems embody from 0 to infinity. Okay, so the center of your body is the 0 point that goes out into infinity. Now, a majority of humans, every time we reinforce those energy nodes are bioelectrical memory systems. Okay, how does memory store in the body? It's all bioelectrical. Okay, so every emotional charge that you output, it is triggered and memorized as an energy point inside the field. So you can imagine we have thousands, perhaps millions of energy points in our body, depending on how long we've lived and what we are repeating constantly. These energy points that are in the field are stagnation of life force. They hold your creative potential. So we can clear the energy system by dropping the charge of these vibrational blockages down to 0. Okay, and you can do that by releasing it from your energy body. That's why energy cleansing, energetic hygiene is absolute key. That you clean your energy body from crown of your head down to the base of your feet, all around your entire body. You move the energy in the body that is stagnant. That's the first step. You become aware of what is being held in the energy body. Also, when you're doing healing work in energy, you can repeat all charges down to 0 once you clean your energy body. The intention is that you bring yourself into the neutral observer. Now, the neutral observer is not something that happens overnight. It is something that you have to train yourself, because you have to meditate and learn how to regulate your nervous system. So in meditation, over time, allow yourself to bring yourself into that 0 point in order to create new neural pathways that will memorize this kind of 0 point state. A more instantaneous way to do that is working in the etheric realms by breaking karmic contracts. With every single human that we interact with, we have contractual agreements. Again, every intentional experience that we create is creating this contract. So we can dissolve those contracts. I want you to imagine a room that is going to be all of your contracts. These are all the agreements that you have made coming into this incarnation in order to learn, expand, grow. If you shine your crown light, okay, so let's come up here. So the multidimensional body, I don't have time going into the entire system, but in the multidimensional body, these chakras that we have here, the 7th is your portal into your higher self. Okay, this is the vortex that connects to the higher self. The 8th is the one that connects with source, your God self. These two, the 7th is the connection to the memory of the Akashic plane, to the DNA of the earth. And so when you enhance your 7th chakra and illuminate it, align it with your higher self intentionally, it shifts the vibrational frequency of your entire body, of your entire experience, to come into harmony with this universal law, universal energy. Okay, so instead of being at the service of your karmas that you're unconsciously repeating, those are programmed in the lower chakras, and they are being repeated, enhanced, and triggered by unconscious states and out of balanced lower chakras. Okay, so you can shine your 7th chakra on top of this room that you're going to visualize, filled with all of your karmic contracts, and you're going to dissolve them. This is such a powerful, powerful practice. It has completely transformed my life in ways that I could have never imagined. It is how we are accelerating this level of consciousness, and the memory returns back to you of your true essence. But the thing with this is that once you start doing this kind of work, you really don't want to stop, because as you are moving this energy coming into the present moment, the moment that you stop doing this work, it's kind of going to come back and it's going to feel like a very strong contrast in terms of frequency. So the invitation is that you dissolve these karmic contracts on a daily basis, utilizing your crown chakra, and we create something called the higher self has a frequency which is different to our physical body, because the physical body usually it's unconscious. It's again, it's operating on an imbalanced state. The higher self has a different frequency, and so it's at a higher octave. We want to identify what is that higher octave frequency. And the language of the universe being energy, we use color, right? Because the human has a visible spectrum of light that is kind of limited. So from this human spectrum of light, we select a color that represents the translation of this higher octave frequency. And that is a color that you place up in your seventh chakra. So when this is directed, dissolving these contracts, it begins to clean up karmically, ancestrally, physically, mentally, emotionally, the patterns that you're repeating. Okay. And then, so this is a really wonderful practice. I can walk you guys through that at some time. I also have that in my, I teach a lot of this. I run people through this every Sunday on my self-love Sundays. But imagine that your entire human body being in this net system of energy. The more you embody the 0 point, you can actually bring yourself into universal harmony. Okay. And so that's the key. But what happens to your brainwave states, by the way, is that as we dissolve these karmic contracts, you begin to come more automatically into alpha state. Okay. So how do you come into alpha state is by grounding yourself down to the center of the earth and coming more fully into your body, into that awareness. This is the key to beginning to work with the energy systems of the body. From alpha state, you can control the chakras, you can open and close them. And the invitation is that you zip up your energy system, balancing the root, sacral, solar, expanding the heart slightly, the throat slightly, the third eye slightly, and activating your crown. So this is how we bring the body manually into the 0 point. From here, when you work with your energy systems, it's so much easier psychologically and emotionally, from your nervous system also, to begin to gently train the body into a state of the 0 point. Okay. And finally, when we talk about this karma and alchemy, you know, there are many levels of ascension that we are moving through. So the more that we are in separation, mind, body, soul, the more you perceive this experience as separate, the more you're going to be experiencing this karmic experience, because everything is frequency. The opposite of that is for you to come into your purpose in alignment with divine will, where action flows from this authentic nature. And this is where DNA reprogramming comes in. Essentially, you're deprogramming all of the limiting belief systems that you're carrying for generations, lifetimes and lifetimes. As a clinical hypnotherapist, when I hypnotize my clients, it's incredible how they are taken to the past life that is repeating the same kind of core belief system that's playing out in their life as a blockage. And as they begin to unpack that memory, it opens up. They see, they understand, they walk through the whole life. And that understanding of coming back into that purpose, that alchemizes this tension. If we were to talk in terms of physics, it's the charge. Let's say the charge is at a 50. You take that charge down to a 0. That's what's happening energetically, bioelectrically in your body when you have these kinds of healing awareness, this kind of understanding. Okay. So yeah, I'll stop right there. I mean, that's pretty much the presentation, but if there are any questions, I can stop, and I can also run through that practice, that meditation, and talk a little bit more about that too. So just let me know, Aage, which direction you want to go.
Wow. That's about all I can say. Wow.
Well, I just hope it's what I hope it's what you were expecting to explain. But if I miss anything, please, Augie, please do share.
No, this was way beyond what I expected from explanation of karma. So this
Oh,
was so much in detail that we need to sit down and think about this, because at first glance it is hard to catch it all. But I did record it, so I can send you the meditation and the recording so you can actually go through this again if you like. Okay.
Well,
Augie,
I would like to say, yes, please, thank you, and I'm so grateful. This is Mars, and I'm sending you a special feeling of huge gratitude for that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful explanation and totally, absolute, truly true truth. Every single word. Thank you. Thank you.
so wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm glad it resonates.
Yeah.
Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you.
So I'd like to
Augie,
thank
can we
Geraldine.
put Geraldine's contact into the chat so I can copy it?
Yeah, I can put my email, my website here, and you guys can please feel free to connect with me. I would love to connect with you. I have a chat right on my website that you can just pop in there and write me anytime. And yeah, I'm here to serve you. So you guys can see if there's anything I can do to help you as well.
Mhm.
And also, if you guys want deeper explanations of all this stuff, I know today was a pretty condensed, small explanation. You guys can visit the YouTube channel where I go really deep into unpacking every aspect of this, especially the multidimensional body, the bioelectrical system, all of that. I go pretty deep into that spiritual anatomy, basically. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, what you explain, that is something that we can do here while we're still in physical form, and we can kind of mold ourselves into a better position after we drop the body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The key is free will, Augie, right? Because what happens is without that work, you have no free will. You don't even know that you have free will. But when you recognize you have free will in the process of embodying the 0 point, now everything, all potential is available to you for experience, and it's up to you. Yeah.
Mm. What about those, let's say that, well, say they don't really know much, and then they drop the body and they find themselves on the, I call it, other side, and they go through this tunnel, and then they find out that, oh, I'm supposed to go back? Yeah, but I don't want to go back. That was a lousy lifetime. I don't want to go back and live something like that again. Do we have a choice? Can we tell the guardians of the soul, sorry, bud, I'm not going back. I don't care what you tell me. There are other jobs in the spiritual world that I'd rather do. Is there something like that, that a kind of a safety valve for us coming back? What do you think?
Well, the key word that you mentioned there is safety valve. And the concept of safety implies that there is some unsafe experience, some painful experience, some suffering experience. But suffering is a very human perception. Okay,
Mhm.
now bear with me. The higher intelligence of universal consciousness doesn't gauge learning expansion from resistance. In fact, it will always have the highest intelligence to redirect you as this incredible soul. Each one of you have an incredibly masterful soul that is a collection of all kinds of experiences across the universe, multiverse, a very unique frequency of experiences, combination of lives. that give us a story for, I guess, the learning of the all, the learning of this whole source. So every experience is incredibly valuable to the whole collective. In fact, there is nothing that happens randomly, and there is nothing that is useless or pointless or unnecessary. And so I think usually when we leave the body, we recognize that, we remember that, and we're like, oh, now I know why I chose that life. It was actually pretty easy. All I had to do is remember love, or all I had to do is remember this harmonic state. And the thing is that we're not only incarnating in one lifetime every time. We are always incarnating simultaneously in many lifetimes, because this little tiny physical body is one of millions of fractals that you are.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of shifting our perception. And in most near-death experiences, this is the kind of awareness they get. You understand why you chose this lifetime. And yes, you can choose. You can always choose, but your perception will be very different from the one from the human side. The human is like always trying to avoid pain, suffering, because it doesn't understand itself yet. So there is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I remember when I chose this lifetime. I was given, I think it was 3 different life situations that I had to choose from. And I chose this one, evidently, because I'm looking at you. And I remember also that the previous one appeared to have happened very quickly. All the length of that lifetime was on that side appeared to be just a short moment.
Yeah.
So things are so different.
That's
It's
right.
hard to understand.
Yeah. See, that's the other thing. Time for us, we have a very, very limited, primitive idea of time and measuring. But everything is actually occurring simultaneous to us. And remember that in your dream time, you are leaving your body to live out those lives. And so that's
Yeah.
why recovering our memory, our lucidity in our dream state is very important to your evolution, because that will expand your perception of why you chose this life, what you're struggling, quote unquote, struggling with in this lifetime, and usually broaden your perception about it.
Mhm.
So yeah, our dreams are extremely important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, got any questions? Now's the time.
And then
I was,
Augie,
I was trying to highlight Geraldine's link in the chat, and it will not highlight, and I cannot copy it.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Geraldine, this is Mars. Could you please give a clear definition of the 3 bodies, the physical conscious, the subconscious astral body, and the supreme conscious etheric soul body? Thank you.
yeah, so those models of bodies, the definition of that, I'm not sure if you're expecting like textbook definition for that, because I know that the names of those bodies, they refer to a very specific school of thought. And I actually don't see the bodies. Sorry?
A heartfelt feeling response, not a textbook. This is out of the textbook.
Perfect. Yeah, because the way that I see the bodies is slightly different. I've seen that we have infinite bodies, but we have 13 main bodies that are operating and accessible to us in this dimension from this dimensional perception. And so the first three bodies are essentially your core working with the physical realm. And it's what has been called as the lower, middle, and upper dantian through Chinese medicine and energy systems. And so that is in parallel to my work. The second system is the heart, the throat, and the third eye, which is the middle dantian, and the upper dantian being the third, the crown, your seventh, eighth, and ninth chakra, okay, which is essentially the Shen, being this high spiritual energy. And so essentially each one of these is operating at each one higher octave, and we can access into those higher octaves once we integrate the first three. Okay, and these bodies are essentially they are portals. They are portals for us moving in and out of dimensions. Let me actually share with you something. Share this with you. Guys, I have a lot of slides here.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess what the question, every single one of these, so the Qing, the lower three bodies, the red, the orange, the yellow being the core foundations that manage the physical experience. This is recording everything that is happening in your DNA, your exchange energies with the world, with others, sexual energy, your most primordial principal energy. And then your Qi, which is life, it just means life force essentially. But the integration of this life force is propelled through the heart. So the integration of the heart, throat, and third eye. And then when we discuss the spiritual energy, we're talking about your crown, your seventh, eighth, and ninth chakra. And that's essentially the system of your higher self, your connection to source. And then from there, you start connecting to your higher energy bodies. Let me just find this. Here it is. Okay.
Okay.
So how we work with the seventh chakra is essentially the higher self. So the seventh is the higher octave from the physical body. And so I would probably say your physical body and all the chakras, below the seventh, everything that is recorded in your DNA this lifetime, whatever you're processing from this lifetime. The seventh is managing Earth DNA, which is essentially your ancestral memory. So this higher self is essentially processing all the information from all your ancestral memory down mother, father's lineage. And essentially your soul is manifest depending on the vibrational frequency that's needed for your ancestral lineage to I guess, enter into a higher octave. And so all of your karmic repetitions and all those things will be kind of pulled from this body, this seventh body. And this is also where you can enter into the Akashic records. You also begin to enter into past lives, and that starts going into the eighth. The eighth is your connection to source. Okay, it's your source embodied. So this is what some people call the higher oversoul. And so how I see that from the DNA perspective is that the information that usually enters here into the body is past lives, future lives. It can be higher octave archetypes, like, some people have like connections with Pleiadians, Arcturians. It doesn't matter the name or the being that you're interacting with. It's the frequency that is recorded within the DNA through many, many lifetimes. And all of that is processing through the eighth. And when I say DNA, I should mention there's different densities of DNA. DNA is holographic. In terms of DNA from the physical body, that's one thing. But as we start going into the higher level octave bodies, like seventh and eighth systems, energy systems, you're talking more of a field of energy rather. So the seventh being the Akashic, and then higher above that, the eighth being the field, the infinite field, in which, we're experiencing still duality, because we were experiencing many different archetypes, 13 main archetypes, as I mentioned, 13 main bodies. So the higher you go, the less physical the archetypes that you're embodying and enhancing and memorizing through the body bioelectrically are accessible to you. Okay, so I hope that kind of explains what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Øystein, you
Perfect.
got your hand up.
Yes, I have a question or a comment. It was very interesting that you mentioned octaves, because I was thinking about music and singing, and I heard that you had been taught by different shamans, and I just want to ask you, where do you find singing important in meditating or reaching higher dimensions? Is that something
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
are?
Well, sorry, please finish.
Yes, that was my question.
Yeah, absolutely. So remember, we are just learning through this human body how to speak the language of the universe. What is the language of the universe? Energy, frequency. Okay. And we translate this energy and frequency through the spectrum of light, which is colors for us. Light, how light reflects, bounces off something, and provides information for us, triggers memory within us bioelectrically. Well, it's the same. Now, we have faculties. Our sensory system is the entryway into the higher faculties. Okay, so your sound, the words that you're speaking, your voice is the second most powerful creative tool that you have. The first is your sexual organs, and the sexual organs are directly connected with the throat. Okay, so psychologically, somatically, bioelectrically, when people have blocks in the sacral chakra, they have blocks up here in the throat, and vice versa. So when we're healing the energy body, for example, the second and fifth body will need to be cleaned to open up the voice. Now, the throat is a very important instrument, and it's actually one of the most difficult ones for humans to refine. Why? Because the throat governs the balance of polarity. It governs the balance between feminine and masculine energies in the body. Anytime we have imbalances of feminine and masculine perception, emotions, energy, we have skewed communication. And remember, everything is cyclical, returning back to us all the time. So of course, that's a very powerful creative instrument. Now, that being said, in terms of healing, it is one of the most powerful healing tools for the body vibrationally, because through the creation of certain tones and sounds, you can bring the body into vibrational frequencies that trigger brainwave states that allow you to access higher states of consciousness. So we talked about grounding, helping you come into the alpha state. There's many mantras that you can do that can also help you come into that. Om, one of my favorite, most easiest. It's Om is definition is the universe. It's the oneness. It is the all. And I can't remember the exact definition right now. Augie, if you know it, please say it. I can't remember off the top of my head the exact words that Om means. But essentially, please, it's just a lack of memory right now. But that frequency that you say immediately brings the body into harmonic order that we were talking about, the 0 point. Okay,
Yep.
so the voice is extremely important, and also the more you cultivate integrity, and the more that you follow through with what you say and do what you say you're going to do, the more power your voice has in terms of creative potential. That's really important. That's one of the magical alchemy tools that have been used by all shamans and energy healers into history. That the more you align with truth, this tool becomes extremely powerful, which means that it requires a lot of responsibility, because you have to be responsible for what you say and that you follow through in that intention of creation. So in terms of sound and music, for example, the music industry being a billion-dollar industry for a reason, because it's one of the easiest tools to reprogram the subconscious mind of the collective. You can insert subconscious beliefs, ideas into people with a beat, with a song, with a sound, and they won't even know it. You know, the wavelengths that are playing in TVs, the back wavelengths, not the ones that are talking to you directly, but the little frequencies that are playing in the background, those are inserting emotions into you, beliefs and ideas and concepts. So we have to be very conscious. That auditory vocal system is part of the programming of the subconscious mind. So for you, for example, if you're a singer or you're an artist, to have that knowledge is important. The music industry does have that knowledge, which is why they use it for that purpose. But as a healer, you can intend to heal with this frequency. I'll also mention that there are many advanced races that they exist only by singing vocal sounds, something called light language that some people talk about here. But essentially, it's the creation of vibrational frequency sounds which create geometric forms for communication, telepathic communication. So a lot of you that are here, you have those abilities in you, and people activate them just like we activate psychic abilities. Telepathic communities, we can also develop communication, high octave communication through frequency of sound. Okay, so yeah, those are some things I can share about that.
Yeah. And David, you got your hand up too.
Yeah, can you hear me on this all right?
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, you said we have to dissolve our contracts every day. Is there ever a point where we get rid of them altogether?
Absolutely. And I've experienced that. But it's very difficult to maintain in that if you doubt or you're in resistance, you're going to accumulate more of this karmic information. But what it feels like to have them dissolved completely is the 0 point. And the reason why a lot of humans don't like being there, because it's not going to be so exciting, right? Because in our physical lives, we actually love drama. We're addicted to the biochemical responses of chaos and suffering, and we don't realize it. So it requires a certain spiritual maturity to really get to the point where you're okay with existing in that pure bliss state all the time, in harmony with everything. It's not an easy thing. And this is why a lot of, ascetics, they kind of move into loneliness, into isolation. But the real challenge is to embody that here in living life, yeah. So, but what I've also learned is that you can reaccumulate karma. And it's very interesting, the process of reaccumulation. You can start with a belief system that hasn't been all the way healed, and then it starts accumulating experiences and then karma, and then you start reopening the memories of your childhood again. So when I did that, when I cleared all of them, I went back and I healed all of my childhood and all of my past lives, because I could see the patterns of those past lives. It's all repeating. You're just gonna see that it's all repeating, same things over and over again. And the next time you start going through these karmic contracts, it's going to be at a higher octave. Okay, so you might repeat some of those same lessons, but you're going to understand them from a much, much higher octave every time. So that's what I learned from that process.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for the definition of Om. That's beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted to share with you guys.
Thank you, Geraldine.
Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Geraldine, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I hope this helps.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me, Aage and Nori. It was an honor to be here. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I just can't help it. I got one quick more question. And if you find yourself in an environment that other people would think would be unsafe, do you do anything special to protect yourself? Or maybe how do you do that if you do?
Yeah, that's an amazing question, and I have a lot of experience with that. So as I'm sure we all do, putting ourselves in challenging, triggering experiences. But what I have learned from that is that you need to heal whatever is being shown and triggered by the unsafe that you're feeling, whatever unsafe situation you're feeling, that's triggering an emotion in you. Now, for everyone, it can be slightly different. Someone, it can be anger. Someone, it can be fear. Someone, it can be helplessness. Everything goes down to fear and separation. All of those complex emotions, the root is fear and separation. Okay. So we want to alchemize the fear that you're experiencing at the core. When you alchemize that, when you understand, what fear is in relationship to your creative potential, what is fear in relationship to your emotions, to your childhood memories, and then you broaden that perception, literally you will not be in resonance with that same kind of experience again. And that's really how you alchemize that unsafe situation. You won't desire whatever it is that you thought you were getting by putting yourself in those unsafe situations. Because we have a lot of unmet desires, and those desires are very powerful, propelling energy, creative energy. So we want to be aware, what's our initial desire? It might be the desire for love. Usually it is. It's the desire for love, desire to be seen, the desire to be accepted, all kinds of things. So if you really understand what is running the show behind your actions and intentions, you will no longer be put into those situations anymore, because your intention, you just meet that need and you say, okay, right now I want love. That's why I want to go to this dark alley right now. So then, you fill yourself with love immediately. And no longer do you need to go there. It changes your timelines. Okay, so the key is to be aware, and the key is to ask yourself and observe what the need is. And that's not always an easy thing, because we're programmed to avoid, to resist, to deny even our own needs. So those things are things we have to work on.
Yeah.
That's the alchemy. I'll share two more things. One thing is breaking contracts, as I mentioned. We want to break them on a daily basis. But as soon as you understand that core belief, we break contracts, because even though you might change the belief system energetically, you might not realize how attached you are to those people that are causing you harm, or family members that are not in the best interest. Energetically, we have cords. So we have to neutralize the energy that continues to reinforce those kinds of dynamics. That's why when we're waking up consciousness, we often lose friends, family members, because we're no longer in resonance. Partners, we're no longer in resonance. And that's traumatizing for people, but we need to mature enough to move through those relationships that are no longer in resonance with us. And we have to call back our life force. That's how we break the contract. And three, we can use our energy to create energetic cloaks. This is something that's practiced by every energy system in the world. The higher you bring your vibrational frequency to the 0 point of non-judgment, the more you see yourself as a light. You become completely neutral to any negative attachments or entities that want to attach, because there's nothing to attach to. And that's something that we practice, and it's been used by every shamanic order in the world to learn how to create an invisibility cloak, where you no longer embody matter, but light. And that's how you become invisible. I've used this to protect myself when there's dangerous people around. I can tell you millions of stories, and it's very powerful.
Would you say that your dreams are ways it's trying to communicate with you to elevate your consciousness?
Yeah, amazing question. We can say really that everything is trying to communicate with us. Really, everything around you is communicating with you. Now, dreams are a very interesting thing. Dreams are you leave the body to the portals of your chakra system, and you enter into other dimensional planes of yourself. So you will be taken always by resonance. There's a self-organizing law in the universe. Everything is by resonance. So if you pay attention to your dreams, they will show you things that are necessary for you to understand either the venting of experiences during the day, as modern psychology talks about, but beyond that, you are being mirrored information that is necessary for you to be aware of. So all of that language is going to be in symbology, because symbols is how we categorize vibrational frequency on this planet. And so we just need to learn what those symbols mean to us. It can be certain colors, forms, shapes. When we're more unconscious, more abstract our dreams are. The more conscious you are, the more lucid you are in waking state, it becomes in dream state. So you begin to have very clear understanding, images, pictures, experiences. It begins to be very clear. And that's wonderful until the point where you start to gain your free will in your dreams, which is lucid, right? They call it dream walking. That's very important for everyone to know how to do. And therefore, you are visiting your parallel lives, and the same way you're cleaning karma here, you're cleaning karma in those parallel lives in your dream state. Mm-hmm. So it can be telling you a lot, but it's essentially the evolution of the soul in form of symbology that is accessible to you through dream state, basically.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
This is Mars, and I have to say that is true. I am a cosmic conscious astral body traveler, and have been for many thousands of lives, and many, and also we can have many spirits living within these fine vessels, and it's etheric light codes that come in through the air that we breathe, and our heart squeezes its memory and the memory of our heartfelt feeling into the blood, and it becomes one with our plasma being. And thank you for all you've done and clarifying all of this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Absolutely right. Amazing.
Oh, this has been wonderful. Well,
much, Aage.
Yeah, this was quite a learning experience. So I recorded it all, so I will send it to you so you could watch it again, because there are pearls on every turn that we did. There are pearls in there, so we gotta maybe watch it again. And the second time through, we always catch stuff we didn't catch the first time. Okay.
I've come to think and realize that we are more than what we think we are.
Yeah.
We are way more than what we think we are.
Yeah, we're not really what we see when we look in the mirror either.
Exactly.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
You mentioned something about sound vibrations. I know certain cults use sound in their meditation.
Yeah.
Is that the reason?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, there was an experiment done in Germany where there was a cult group that they had found how to create all of the lower frequency sounds. They combined them to create literally a song designed to make the person feel deep terror, deep anxiety, deep stress. And they would recite that. They would tell them it's a high vibration thing, but they would recite that. And all of them ended up like psychotic and all messed up because simply what they were repeating and repeating. Sound is very important. And the Hollywood entire system understands this, unfortunately. So, you know, we just need to be mindful when we're watching movies. As soon as you start feeling like you're stressed out and angry and fearful, you got to remove yourself from that, because it's not easy to clean that up. You see how much work it is to bring yourself and regulate your nervous system.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, once you gain the awareness, as soon as you start noticing it, you bring yourself into your body and you control how you respond to those things. That's very important. But not a lot of people have that awareness and that self-control. So it's something to be aware of. But yeah, really, really good point.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us. This was
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Love you so much. Have an amazing week. Hope to
Thank
see
you.
you soon.
Thank you so
See
much.
you. Bye.
okay. Thank you. I'm going to stop recording here.